recently we were in a conversation with a guy who says, what is ID? What is identity? And it basically means who you're identical to or what you identify with. So it is a personal. It's a private choice you make. Do you identify as a creature of the state or a creator of the state? And that makes all the difference.
Did you say a creature or a creator?
Did the state make you or did you make the government? Yeah.
Nice. Creature versus creator. We've got a lot of verses, you know. There's a lot of things that we want to talk about that have this verses, and I think that that's going to become a real theme because
Absolutely.
And it comes back to living in this illusion of thinking that it's one thing, but it's actually another. And what are the difference between these two things, and how, if you don't want to live in A anymore, how do you get to B? And I think that that's a really great segue into the birth certificate conversation. And if we may, I'm gonna put you on. If you want to start talking about that, I need to put you on mute for a minute.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So if you want to start talking about the cool discovery that you made just today, and today is the what is it, the 10th or the 11th? The 11th.
Yeah, March 11th, 2021. That's an interesting bunch of numbers.
312021. Yeah. Talk about it. Let's hear it.
Well, if you think about what we're really talking about is splitting the title to something. So if you think about the judge, Solomon, that decided to split the baby, it's kind of pertinent to this. It's pertinent to your birth certificate and the title to your car that gets split when you register something. Registration of anything is putting it on the logs of the king or the one that owns it. So when you register your car, the title is being split in two, and you have equitable title, and there's that equity term again, and the state that you register it to, the king that you register it to, whoever you register it to has legal control or legal title to it. So what I discovered this morning, I was just reading a little bit more into the birth certificate and what happens between the time you're born and the time that the juristic person is created. So when you're born, and I'm going to go through this quickly. There's a whole lot you can look into when it comes to this. And these birth certificates, we kind of talked about that last time when we were talking about, okay, when did the United States start to adopt this? And I can go into the history a little bit later, but I just want to give the discovery right up front here.
Okay, I'm back on the line too.
Okay, so the registration, okay, when the certificate of live birth, if you look at that, if you have people should get their birth certificates and look at it and just look and see.
I'm going to go get mine.
Okay, so do you see a birthday on there? Oh, you went. Okay, you went to get yours. I got you. Okay, no problem. So I'm just looking at this. Okay.
Okay, it's in here.
All right. So is there what we want to know is if there is any kind of a signature by any sort of a registrar anywhere on there.
Okay. So here's my docs. What is this? All right.
So
certificate of birth registration. This is to certify that a birth certificate has been filed for me, and there is absolutely no signatures on anything. And this is the original. I have another copy that was made, but this is
okay.
No, there's no signature on it. Hold on, look at the other one.
Find your birthday on there.
On this one, okay, this is a certification of birth.
Oh, okay, that's your certificate of live birth.
This is certified that the person named on this certificate was born on the date and the place shown, and this record of birth was filed with the Registrar of Vital Statistics of this registration district. Warning, any alteration invalidates this certificate, and it was signed. Now, the filing date was 9 days after I was born.
Okay.
And the date this was issued is actually 1991. So I got it. Yeah, but it's the signature is this is an original certificate, original signature.
Okay, and what are we looking at? Your certificate of life, certification of birth record?
Correct. State of New York Department of Health. Yep.
Okay, and there is a date 9 days after you were born.
Yep.
Okay, that's when the registration occurred. There's a registrar who signed it, right?
Well, the copy that I have was signed in 1991, which of course
really
is 20 years after. Do you know that I just looked at these two documents since our last conversation, and I did not even recognize that one of them was a certification of birth and the other one was a certificate of birth registration.
Right. See how that's a mirror image? It's going to become important.
Didn't even notice it, and they have different numbers. They're both numbered.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But the certification of birth has the registration number from my birth registration on it.
Where? In a box?
In a box. So
okay.
It gives the district, it gives the registration number, and then my full name, birth date, sex, county, city, and filing date.
Okay, so that one, they put you in a box. They put you in a box.
Oh, I'm definitely in a box.
Okay, so in the original one, it's probably all in boxes anyway.
Oh, yeah, the original one is also all caps, and it's all, let me see what else I've got here. I've got my DD-214. That's not relevant.
But let's go to, it will become relevant when we talk about the DD-1628, I believe is the number. That'll be late down the road. But what you need to understand, and I think is important, is that this is the discovery. On the date of registration, when the registrar took control of that name, they hypothecated your name into a municipal United States person. Okay? They actually issued a great number of bonds against your name. So that's basically what it refers to human capital, what your value will be, how much you'll produce in your lifetime. And
I'm chattel.
What's that?
I said I'm chattel.
You're exactly right. It's chattel. So but no, you're not. The nature of you, Mindy, has never changed. Always keep that in mind. This is games that the Roman civil system plays with words. It's just word play. So they've taken that certification of live birth that at one time, going back through the history, was just a baptismal certificate. And they've taken that baptismal certificate, let's just say, and converted it into a bond to be sold on the open market. And now they're being sold as mortgage-backed securities. Don't worry about any of that, okay? Just understand that the name that your parents gave to you as a gift, the first gift you were ever given, one of your most valuable gifts, was taken from you and hypothecated into the debt of a now defunct, liquidated, bankrupt entity. But it did make you, it purported to make that name, that juristic person name, a debtor, instead of a creditor. So when we created the government, we were its creditors. When this debt was hypothecated against our name, you became the debtor instead of the creditor. And all of your life, the reason you need a birth certificate to get a Social Security account and the reason you need a birth certificate to go to school is because you're going to operate in the public at all times under the juristic person name or one of your several juristic person names. Okay? So that is the point. And what I discovered this morning is that the day it's registered is the day the title to you is split. You have equitable title to you, to your juristic person name. They have legal title to you. And it's like attaching a handle to you, and they can't touch you, but they can grab the handles and steer them any place they want them to go. And that's how they steer you. And that, to me, that's one of the basic elements of the control grid.
Can I ask questions?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this has been explained to me a million times, and I should understand it, but I have cognitive dissonance, and I fully admit to it because I've got to call myself on it when I see it, and we all get cognitive dissonance, which is the mind's inability to hold conflicting thoughts at the same time. So I'm having this experience right now, which is rather profound, where I'm holding these two different forms that tell me who I am, right? And one of them is a certification of birth, and the other one is a certificate of birth registration. And so the fact that I have these two forms is baffling to me because I didn't even know they were different, right? So what you're saying is on my certification of birth form, which was filed, now it might have been filed 9 days after I was born because I was in an incubator for 11 days.
That's not why.
Okay, so I actually wasn't I wasn't named right away. I think I was a couple days old when I was named. So I don't know if that, but you had said that the certification of birth is what's supposed to come first. Didn't you? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, the certification of birth is there may also be another one. There also may be a certificate of live birth. So you might want to go back to the Department of Vital Statistics. I think that's now changed. Vital Statistics in most states now has changed and gone on to some other department and name. So, but anyway, you might want to write and get always get certified copies of everything.
Right, and these are, well, actually, yeah, they're both certified copies. So, because the question I have is that the registration number for my registration number is on this certification of birth, and so that might be, it's on my right. So it came after. It necessarily came after. So there's a certificate of live birth as well. And you need that. So that would have been the first one. And so let me just see if I want to try to rephrase what you're saying so that I understand, so that I have comprehension. Yeah. So Mindy is born, and I'm a free and independent person, and then this birth registration occurs. And this birth registration takes my name, which was a gift from my parents, and it turns it into all capital letters, which means that it is the Maximus. What's that phrase that you used, the something Maximus? Capitis Diminutio Maximus. And it can be in many, one of three styles. It doesn't necessarily be in all caps, but that seems to be what most people are cued into. So to keep it simple, yeah. So this all caps name that is on everything in all caps is I was registered into a corporation as this certificate number, this registration number, which I am looking at my registration number, and that says that that's probably the number that they use in the system as chattel or as a means of buying and selling things on the market based on my income earning potential. Is that correct?
Not quite.
Okay, I'm glad I asked then. So
go ahead.
Okay, so please, what part of that was not correct, and how can I make sure that I understand this? Because my brain really has a hard time with this concept.
Probably the only thing you need to understand right now, and this is what the discovery was, is that on that day of registration, Mindy was still living her life and being free and independent, as were we all. We had no knowledge of this thing that was happening, that was a fraud that was happening without our knowledge or consent. But a juristic person was created so that you could operate and make deals with these corporations that were posing as governments. You had to have a legal person to make deals, to make contracts.
Contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it's on this, and this is a mind blower, but it goes back to like kind, having intercourse in commerce with like kind. So corporations can only deal with other corporations or juristic constructs in the civil system. Okay, it's in the common law system, in the land jurisdiction stuff, man deals with man at all times. So it has to be those of substance dealing with others of substance, which is why the money has to be of substance. In the Roman civil system, it's constructs of the mind dealing with other constructs of the mind. They don't actually exist in the substance world. So that's why that had to be created for you.
So that it is in their system.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. That much I understand. Okay, great. So
now the complicated part is the bonds that were created so they could profit off of your labor, but don't worry about that. Just know that it was there. Don't worry about how it works. Just for now, just suffice it to say it happened.
And just for the record, I've watched not thousands, but hundreds of videos about this. And just for the record, it really does hurt my brain to think about this, although I have come to I always, we talked about one of the ways that I look at the world is I always look at everything like, what if it's true? What if it's not true? And my cognitive dissonance, even though I actually have known about this long before I ever moved to Alaska. Like I learned about this stuff probably 20-something years ago. But I never wanted it to be true, and I had a hard time believing it. And but now I'm sitting here looking at these two documents, and I see that they're different. I've been carrying these documents since 1991. Everywhere I've gone, these two documents have been with me since 1991 when I got it. And now for the first time, I'm like, holy crap, they're different.
Yeah.
I break them out. Like I said, I just looked at them last week, and I never could even notice that they were different. And now, based on this conversation, I realize that there's probably a third document that is an actual certification of live birth. And, I'm going to get my paws on that one.
Yeah. And I will reassure you, it gets much, much worse. This is just the beginning.
All right. This is exciting. Well, let's check with time. We've been doing this for like 2 hours. We should wrap this particular thing up and our next call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we should, and I agree. So let's do this another time. Do the rest another time. But dang it!
Yeah,
I forgot.
So the last thing you were talking about was in the land jurisdiction, it's substance versus substance, Roman law, construct of mind. I don't know if that jogs you at all, or if you were going to go in a different direction.
Oh, yes. It's just a really simple thing about this, trying to understand what's going on in the mirror. Everything's a mirror image. And what we've all done is we've looked in the mirror, and we call that reality, when in fact it's the opposite of reality. It's 180 degrees from reality and from the world of substance. And every time we look in that mirror and we try to understand it, I mean, we just talked about this on a call we had recently on Sunday afternoon. Everybody we know has a very hard time wrapping their head around this because it's the opposite of what should be. It doesn't make sense. You know, it's 180 degrees from what I would call absolute truth. It's probably absolute fiction. So, you know, people should realize that it's hard to wrap your head around. It all involves cognitive dissonance. You have to have a very kind of a weird brain, I think, to get your head wrapped around it, and I think a lot of people have to go at it time and time and time again, and also there's no reason to know it. I mean, you kind of want to know it's there, and you kind of want to know, oh, man, that's commerce, and that's how it works. But to understand every jot and tittle of it, it's not important for man to do that.
Right. And
you don't need to know it in order to function. In other words, yeah.
But I love the fact that we're talking about this stuff because, Maria, we are in an epic battle between freedom and control. And I love that phrase. It's important that we discuss these things because, truthfully, the time is now. Our First Amendment rights are being tread upon from every direction, and it is up to us, the individual, the person, the man, the woman, who can see these things and can hold these thoughts. It is up to us to preserve our rights. And, you know, one of the things we want to talk about is the Bill of Rights, and I really look forward to that. We've got a lot of conversations ahead of us. I want to thank the people for joining us if you're listening to this. And, and let the truth, for Neil Peart, greatest drummer ever lived, let the truth of love be lighted, and let the love of truth shine clear.
It's a wrap. God bless you. God bless you, Mindy, and all y'all. And
blessings back at you, girlfriend.
All right.
And I hope to see you soon because it's been like 2 years. So.
Yeah, it's going to happen. May not be before we do that next crossing, though. So.
Right. It sounds like it. It sounds like it.
Yeah, text me when you want to talk next, and we'll keep going.
Your only Son, your perfect one, spotless and true, the match of you. You sent him in to bear our sin, the whips and scorn, the curtain torn. How did it feel to let him go, to face the death? Your only Son, that we all know, your perfect one, spotless and true, the match of you. You sent him in and scorn, the curtain torn. How did it feel to let him go, to face the death that we all know? Yet all you said, lest faith grow dim, this is my son, listen to him. We don't deserve the half the tithe, the 100th part of your whole heart, yet you give all and always will. As we recall, remember still, how did it feel to let him go, to face the death that we all know? Yet all you said, lest faith grow dim, this is my son, listen to